Please remember, tip those rookie bartenders 20%. No droids and bounty hunters, no Raylos, no Adam Driver fans, no shills for the sequel trilogy. Oh, we do this for love of Star Wars. And basically to save not only pop culture, but pop culture or culture itself. I want to talk a little bit about something that came over the news within the fandom that is appalling. I'm going to fall back on I know the players, okay? Because it's not like I'm not experienced in political shilling, okay? I am friends on Facebook and with Dana Lash. Dana Lash, the radio personality, the NRA, former NRA girl, who has got a huge show on noons all over the United States. She's a great person, okay? I am very familiar with the conservative talk show circuit with Sean Hannity, etc. I am familiar with what Joe Rogan does. He brings in people that the other people might find interesting, and he interviews them and what have you. There are people out there in the media. They're all different levels of media, who, in my opinion, don't deserve to be given a platform in certain places. Sure, they have the right to free speech. I'm not going to sit there and deny they do. But they are so out there, okay, and outlandish and have zero integrity that distancing yourself from them is a better road to take. One of these people is going on a big show tomorrow, okay? I don't truck with conspiracy theories unless I really see something there. I'm sorry. I don't know what it was, but whatever substance that was in the water that was turning frogs gay is not, hi Dave, is not something that we should be connected to, if you know what I mean. And the reason is this. You cannot go on Twitter and troll and harangue a movie director who is respected by everybody. Troll and harangue the media. Okay, morning. Troll and harangue other fan groups, and then expect to be taken seriously if you have somebody like that on your radio show. All right. We have a, I think, responsibility to tell the truth based on facts. All right. And when you bring in people who make the most outlandish claims, now sure, some of these might have the truth, but the guy in question has been so bad in general. He has been deplatformed everywhere. He has a poor reputation as a dad and a husband. And here we are, feting him. I'm sorry, but I would never allow myself to be connected to this person. And the reason why is I worked in politics. I know how things work. A lot of people that listen to him and believe him don't know how it works. Okay? They don't. And I'm going to say right off the bat, he's nuts. He is batshit crazy. Okay? There's nothing else I can say. Now, you can be mad at me for saying this. You can be mad at me for yeah, well, it's not just that. It's basic lies. It's basic clickbait. The whole go look up whatever turns pesticides or whatever were turning frogs gay. That was one outlandish statement. If you know that little topic, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And you know what's happening tomorrow. Okay. These are the people that shit all over friends of theirs when they disagree with them about, oh, Kathleen Kennedy or other things, right? But then have this idiot on their show. I can't do this. There's a reason why I've distanced myself from these bigger channels. The drama that they constantly have to have revolving around them. The incessant ranting and raving without any intellectual integrity. And now this. Look, Sean Hannity wouldn't talk to this guy. Rush Limbaugh, the god of all radio hosts, would never talk to this guy. Glenn Beck, who's a lunatic, wouldn't talk to this guy. Okay? Dana Lash wouldn't talk to this guy, and he probably thinks she's a member of the Illuminati or whatever the fuck. I mean, and she's not. Okay? What the? And you expect James Mangold, Ryan Johnson, Kathleen Kennedy, Alex Kurtzman, the guys that are running Warner Brothers right now, you know, Bob Chapek, Bob Iger, and the rest of them too. Listen to when you're upset about a product, you really think they're going to listen to you. When you've got a guy who should be in a straitjacket in a state hospital on your show and giving him a forum. Maybe you guys actually think he tells the truth. You know, there are some things out there you question. Do I believe the government? No, but I never have. And I worked in the government. I saw how it works. And they're not quite as competent as Mr. Jones says they are. Okay? The CIA. We're talking about an inverted pyramid. Everybody here doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. And you guys expect me to think they're out doing whatever? Why do I say this? Because I know this is true. Because I've seen it in action. I've been in there. I've been on the legislative side where we're going, when did that rule that suddenly just appear happen? It's because some stupid bureaucrat who's stuck in DC, you know, going to the Kennedy Center on Fridays and, you know, going to a 6,000 square foot mansion in, you know, Great Falls, Virginia, decided on a whim to do this, and it wasn't legislated. That's what they do, okay? But here we are talking to somebody who has made a point of being an outlandish clown in a circus. I mean, I'm going to tell you something. If you guys remember what people called Donald Trump, they called him a carnival barker. Guess what? You're having the actual carnival barker on your show. And it's painting the rest of us like we're nuts. I will not be part of it. All right? I will not. And I've told other people with really good, really big channels, I am not going to talk. I'm not, no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. 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 Why? Because it makes us all look bad. Okay? It makes us all look bad. And I'm sorry, but after 8 years of being called istphobe and whatever, you know, floated through Pablo Hidalgo's walnut-sized brain, and the rest, and Star Wars Explains pea-sized brains. Okay, we're back. Some asshole tried to call me again. Anyway, peanut-sized brains. After 8 years of this, now you're going to have this guy on your show? You guys are going to have this person on your show. Watch if you want, if you're a subscriber to these channels. I don't care. But remember who this person is, where he comes from, and the bullshit that has followed him everywhere. Okay? bullshit he himself has caused himself. I mean, Glenn Beck wouldn't have him on his show. All right? I don't get it. Buck Sexton wouldn't have him on his show. What in the... Eric Belling would... I mean, why? The only person in the list that I can see that actually did have crazy on his show, Joe Rogan, was because he actually was curious about what makes this guy tick. Joe Rogan knows he's nuts. And with good reason, I think people are like, what are you doing? If anything, Joe Rogan is an even-tempered enough guy, probably because he's done so many mushrooms and dope, that, you know, he knows he's crazy. He's going to let him make a fool of himself, and that's what happened. Okay? What was that? Pesticides turn frogs gay. Actually, dipshit, no, pesticides actually probably kill frogs, but, you know, we have to come up with some fucking weird conspiracy theory that's not based on science, but hey, it's good clickbait, and redneck morons and mouth breathers will eat it up like ice cream. Okay? I don't even want to go into his personal life. But this is the state of that side of the fandom. Instead of getting someone, I mean, I would say to Chris Gore, don't go on those shows anymore. Don't. And the reason why is because you are in a business that is all about reputation. And showing up on a show with somebody who was on a show happily with a batshit crazy lunatic. I'm not kidding. This is bad. This is not good. You are making yourselves look stupid and crazy, and you're feeding into the narrative about you. Do you like it? Do you like that? Do you think it's a good idea? It's all right. I'm saying this as somebody who's worked in politics, who understands what fashioning a narrative means. They fashioned a narrative about all of us that were racists and phobes and ists, la la la, and this bullshit that we have suffered through because we didn't like their fucking product, and now you're feeding into it. Now, maybe you think that's a good job, but I see a great big rock landing on all of you because of this shit. Okay? There are people in foreign countries that go to your shows and go, I'm not talking about that, Dave. I'm talking about the fandom getting caught up into, I don't think you know who I'm talking about, and I'll send you an email and what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about us. I'm talking about us feeding into the bullshit that we've had to suffer through by allowing someone who has no business, not even a little bit of business, being allowed on a show to spread his conspiracy theory, batshit crazy shit. All right, I will not be connected to any of this shit. All right, I will not. What do you guys want? Do you want to see stuff fixed? Or are you such a bunch of hopeless, money-grubbing whatevers that you can't fix it, so you're going to press clickbait, invite somebody, again, who should be in a state hospital with a Thorazine drip in a straitjacket in a rubber room onto your show to make you look stupider. I just got done realizing that a lot of shit could end if Project Veritas, which is actually a very, very solid organization. I love James O'Keefe. I have known him since he brought down Eghorn. Okay? Andrew Breitbart was so proud of him that, I mean, he was like the son Andrew never, I mean, another son to Andrew. It is time for us to get those people involved in this. Stay away from the clowns who have been deplatformed from everything. Okay? And start thinking, do we want to change this? Do we want people to actually think we are what they say we are? Or are you guys just so full of yourselves and don't think you're vulnerable? Anyway, I want to talk a little bit about so Matrix 4 trailer came out and I watched it once. It's very interesting to me. It looks like Neo is turned into John Wick, but it looks pretty good. I wasn't a fan of The Matrix, really, but I might actually be interested and open to seeing this. So go watch the trailer if you liked it. You know, whatever. Come back in the comments or come back to the chat and tell me. Then the Many Saints of Newark dropped their latest trailer. This is one of the movies I'm really excited for. I'm excited for 3. Dune, what I'm going to talk a little bit about, because that's the end of this conversation, because a delightful thing happened, and I couldn't be happier over Dune. Dune, Many Saints of Newark, and of course, Ghostbusters Afterlife. Many Saints of Newark, I'm going to explain, is the prequel to The Sopranos. And it's about Christopher Moltisanti. Moltisanti literally means many saints. It's about his father, Dickie Moltisanti. And it's about how Tony was brought into the family. Tony Soprano, the young guy, very young teenager at the time, is being played by Michael Gandolfini, James Gandolfini's son, and he is amazing. He is absolutely amazing. I can't describe how just seeing him, even in a little bit we get to see, is so much like his father. You know, you're seeing a baby Tony, and it's really cool. The trailer doesn't really give you a lot. Ray Liotta is the beginning and the end of it. And let's see, Alessandro Navallo plays Dickie Moltisanti, Christopher Moltisanti's dad. When you watch Sopranos, you're going to realize that Dickie Moltisanti was a legend. He is a legend. And that's okay. Dickie Moltisanti is a legend. And it's about him. Okay? This is going to be fantastic, and I'll tell you why. First off, we're gonna get some Newark history. There were really bad race riots going on then, the late 60s. But this is the height of the mafia's power in America between 1945, after World War II, to 1989, when Gotti was getting dragged out to the courts all the time. The mafia pretty much was in that area between Newark, New Jersey and New York, with the 5 families. And the history of that, and one of these days, I really, really hope that somebody like David Chase actually goes in and talks about does a biographical movie, a good one, about Lucky Luciano. Luciano came from Naples. He was Neapolitan. Or no, was he Sicilian? No, he ended up in Naples. He was Sicilian. He came in the early 1900s, got involved with Joe the Boss Masseria, the Black Hand, which is what the mafia was called. And I tell you something, The Sicilian mafia makes our mafia look like a bunch of freaking Cub Scouts. Okay, right off the bat. Masseria is there, and then this guy named Maranzano shows up. So you've got two rival gangs. 1931, after Prohibition, there are constant fights between Maranzano and Masseria for power over the bootleg trade, and there had been all through the 20s. And in 1931, Joe Masseria, Joe the Boss Masseria, was brought to a Coney Island seafood restaurant for lunch. Lucky was there. Lucky took him to lunch. Lucky gets up, goes to the bathroom. Three guys come in and fill Masseria with a bunch of bullets. A few months later, maybe a year later, I don't know the time period, Maranzano's getting ready to face a bunch of tax investigators, IRS. Guys show up with knives. He goes flying out the window. A few weeks later, there's a meeting of all the top mafia guys. They divide New York into 5 families. The Genovese family is actually Lucky's family. That's the family that he headed. And he ended up being the boss of all bosses. There were 5 different families. He was the overboss of everybody. And it would be really interesting to see a show about him that was truthful. The guy ended up getting thrown in prison for racketeering and prostitution. He lived at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel. I believe he was making $500,000 a week. Back then was like, that's a lot of money back in the 30s. He ends up in prison, and he's got a bunch of people working for him, including a young Carlo Gambino, and Albert Anastasia, who basically was the guy that kind of ran the docks around New York. Government comes to Lucky during World War II and says, look, we need help keeping the docks safe. What can you guys do about it? And Lucky says, no problem. And then Lucky gave him help in Sicily. And he basically, for his efforts, got deported back to Naples. Okay? But he's still the boss of all bosses. Anastasia was the head of Murder Incorporated. Go look that up. He ends up being murdered while getting a shave at a barbershop. And that's how Carlo Gambino ended up being the head of the Gambino crime family. Okay? Because Anastasia was actually the boss of that family. Very interesting stuff. But when I look at the context of this side of the Sopranos, we'll say history, I see a lot of that. The guys that were running the Sopranos and those families, even in Newark, were the children, the Padawans of the first bosses of Lucky and Anastasia, and Frank Costello, who died with his boots off. Some of these guys actually did make it to old age. Carlo Gambino, Frank Costello. Frank Costello had an assassination attempt and ended up quitting. But it's very interesting to me. And then, of course, if you've seen the movie Bugsy, fictionalized account of Bugsy Siegel and Meyer Lansky. There's a movie about Meyer Lansky that came out this last year with Harvey Keitel. I've seen part of it. I'm going to finish watching it. You guys will really enjoy it. Okay. But I'm really looking forward to this, The Many Saints of Newark, because when I watched it, I felt like I was watching a slightly younger version of Sonny Franzese and Dickie Moltisanti. Sonny Franzese was the underboss of the Colombo crime family. He was, he said, railroaded by Bobby Kennedy and the FBI into spending 50 years in jail. he was very, come here, come. He was a mafia legend. He died at the age of 100, or maybe 103, unrepentant. When I'm watching this and I'm seeing what we know about what Sonny did, I see somebody who's quite like Sonny Franzese. And I see Tony as a slightly more thuggish version of Michael Franzese, Sonny's son, who is now, he's a public speaker. He's an evangelist now. Sadly, he left the Catholic Church and calls himself a Christian. It's like you never were not a Christian. So, but it's to me, very interesting how they're going to do this, because there's going to be some mob history along with the Soprano Easter eggs. So that's another movie I'm really looking forward to. Now for the last thing. That umbrella guy posted a video just now. One of the shills for one of the SJW shills named, I think his name is Adam Rogia. Let me find him on here. We will do this because I want to show you what happened. This is very interesting. This is okay. All right, sorry for the dead air. All right, this guy wrote a review of Dune, and he basically said, it's great, but it has the white savior trope. And he bitched about it. And then there was backlash about it, so he went on Twitter and started attacking fans, and he got nailed for it. And it's really kind of funny. But I think his name is all right, I think this is him. We'll find out. Okay. Game Spot. All right, we'll find GameSpot then. We'll just do that. And it's like, look, it's the same thing over and over again. It is literally one of the most hysterical things I've ever seen in my life. And you know, I'm literally looking at this going, whatever. And go to the Umbrella Guy's video about this, because it's really funny. But this guy got roasted, and by the fans, and he came back and, you know, pulled a yell into the void thing. And it was pretty funny when I think about it. I'm gonna go to YouTube. We'll go to YouTube and we'll find the Umbrella Guy. Okay, we'll just do that because that's what we do here. Okay, so I'm gonna put this on, and let me do one thing here. I gotta turn it down. The sound. Okay, and we're gonna do this. And I'm gonna find out what this guy's name is. All right, fired, shill gone. And that's what this is called. Skip ahead. All right. All right, so his name is, so he says, the elephant in the room, if there is one, is the fact that Dune is an almost 60-year-old story that suffers, damn it, 60-year-old story that suffers from a reliance on the all too familiar white savior trope. All right, the guy has not read the book at all. Paul Atreides, a powerful young white man, blah blah blah, as a messiah and the fulfillment of a prophecy by many, though not all, of the brown-skinned residents of Arrakis. The vague unease of this trope in parts might have been mitigated by casting a non-white actor in the role. Never read the book. I want to question. How the hell is Lady Jessica and Duke Leto supposed to have a black kid? Or a Chinese kid? Or some sort of brown kid to make a guilty white asshole feel better about himself? And people got mad. So we'll go on. So then, Rojao says, sitting here enjoying the irony of all the totally non-toxic Dune fans calling for me to be fired on today of all days for daring to mention the white savior trope in my review. Keep screaming into the void, y'all. Here. Sound familiar? Star Wars fans? Sound familiar? So then, he gets fired. Today is my last day at GameSpot, and in this field and industry in general. Therefore, I will tweet some thoughts. I enjoyed most of my time at GameSpot, but working in media for over a decade has overall been exhausting and soul-crushing and thankless. Yes, there are fun perks, but no amount of press trips, early access, and cool interviews can offset the toxicity of fandoms. Why are we toxic? Why? Why do you say that? I don't understand. I don't get it. Why? All right. Again, I don't like this because it sucks. I don't like this because it doesn't make any sense. I've read the book. A black Paul Atreides, a Latin Paul Atreides, a Asian Paul Atreides. What the fuck? Not because it makes sense, but because it makes jackasses like Mike Rojao feel better about himself. Fuck that shit. All right. The entire journalism industry is now totally dependent on a series of ever-shifting algorithms rewritten weekly behind closed doors by a handful of giant tech companies that do not have anyone's best interest at heart. So, okay, we go from the fans being toxic to Google, Apple being at fault for the algorithm. Not you, no, honey. Nobody, old pal, you're fine. What a bunch of shit. So this guy gets fired. He gets fired for basically doing what Ryan Johnson did. Scream into the void. Yell into the void. That is a line from him. What Pablo Hidalgo did and continues to do, whether he's working for Lucasfilm or not, The guy still has his fingers in the pie. And even if he's gone, he can still cause a lot of trouble. He can still cause a lot of trouble. This is just a continuation, and for the first time, no, second time in the last 4 years, 2018, October, late September 2018, we see an angry, upset little soy boy get fired for saying something stupid. It appears to me that the people who made Dune and Warner Brothers are banking on this movie doing well. And they don't want fucking retarded left-wing SJW moronic politics brought into it. But here we are. And the guy got fired. And he didn't even go nearly as far as Chuck Wendig did when he got fired. But the attitude's the same. The attitude is the same. Okay? The attitude is, we don't give a fuck what you think. We want to have our politics in everything, in every place. And, you know, if you're, let's see, if you're an SJW who happens to be gay and you're radical, you need representation. Everywhere. Everywhere. This doesn't have anything to do. This is virtue signaling. What Mike Rogow did, I thought it was Adam Rogow, but it's Mike Rogow.